Hey guys, this is Evie Brooks with Munkus Park,
And I'm Kate Durio. I live in Lafayette and work in culture and music.
and we are here to tell you about all the cool things that you can do to Lafayette in case you're new to town or in case you're just, want to know more about what's going on in town. Obviously, there's a few caveats with COVID, but we certainly want to make sure that you know of all the awesome things that happen in Lafayette just in case they do come back online. So,
And there's lots of virtual things to do, and we'll point those out along the way too.
So one thing we wanted to do really quickly was kind of highlight the different neighborhoods. So Kate, obviously we both live very close to campus and very close to downtown. So believe it or not, it's very, very easy to get there. It's not far from campus at all. So if you are living on campus, it's a great place. There's so many things happening. Kate, why don't you take some of the cool things that happen downtown?
Yeah, sure. So typically there are concerts every Friday during the spring and fall in downtown. That's, of course, within walking distance of campus. And these are free concerts, but they've been going virtual since the pandemic. So keep an eye out on the Downtown Lafayette Facebook page for links and information on that, or downtownlafayette.org. Same with Festival International, Movies in the Park, Art Walk. There are a lot of things, a lot of changes going on with that right now, but Art Walk is actually possible to experience with social distance. So since it happens in individual galleries. So if you want to don your mask and head out to Art Walk every second Saturday of the month, you can see art, street installations, and a lot of fun happening downtown. Festival International went virtual in 2020 and is currently evaluating what they're going to do in 2021. But there are still a lot of ways to experience local music, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Festival Acadienne et Creole usually happens in Girard Park the second weekend of October. It has already decided to go virtual in 2020, so you can check that out, festivalacadienne.acreole.org. And I'll let Evie talk a little bit about the horse farm.
So as I mentioned, I work for Munkus Park. So that's the new name for a new 100-acre park that we're under construction on Johnson Street, which is kind of the main drag through town. So right now we have a farmer's market that happens every Saturday morning from 8 to noon. So you can get great fresh local produce, and there's some kind of value added, products and stuff you can buy breakfast. Until further notice, they are kind of limiting the number of artisans, but in the past they had, somewhere between 30 and 50 vendors that just had all sorts of great things that you could buy for gifts, but also tons of food and local produce. So sometimes I know that the options at the union aren't always what you want. So if you're interested in kind of cooking for yourself, that would be the place I'd go first. And then the park is hoping to open sometime next year after we finish constructing an amphitheater, a treehouse playground area with also like a splash pad. We currently have like a dog park, a big lake. So huge investment, great community project. And we look forward to opening it while you're hopefully in your first year of school. So that'll be a great place for you to go. And then finally with the neighborhoods, obviously, we really encourage you to get a bike and kind of travel around town. There are so many great neighborhoods, great old architecture, also some really cool new modern architecture if you're interested in that. The St. Streets, which is kind of just north of campus, has it's just a really great established neighborhood, lots of cute little things that you can go and do there. Some of them being kind of restaurants and things that, again, during times of COVID, you'll have to just kind of like wing it and see how they're open. But old time, St. Street actually closed for COVID, and then Rusted Rooster is right across from City Hall on St. Landry. And then Freetown, which is where Kate and I live, which is just east of campus, has a lot of different things like Borden's, which is one of the oldest, it's the last Borden's ice cream shop that's actually open. Blue Moon Saloon is a great kind of venue, and it's also a hostel if you have friends that come to town. Cedar Deli Grocery is really great. It has a lot of international foods as well if you're interested in purchasing some of those things, but they have a great series of kind of sandwiches and kind of Middle Eastern food there as well. Tammy's is a great little convenience store, probably one of the closest convenience stores to campus. And then Warehouse 535 is another venue for music. CrossFit Acadiana, if you're interested in that, it is, obviously a little bit further on the other side on Garfield Street, but we, love partnering with them on a lot of stuff. And then McKinley Street connects to campus. It actually runs through campus, but there are several kind of bars and venues, music venues, that kind of stuff there. If pottery is your thing, there's also a pottery gallery called Pottery Alley. That's also on Guidry's, not very far from Warehouse 535 and CrossFit Acadiana. And then, of course, believe it or not, you will need something from Guidry's Hardware. I'm sure it's this great old Ace Hardware store, and it is on Jefferson Street. And they have a huge helpful staff that's just really great in helping you navigate a hardware store, because we all know how fun that can be sometimes. So also, obviously, as a sportsman paradise, Louisiana has tons of stuff to do outside. Lafayette is not short on amazing places to go visit that are very near. So even if you don't have a car, there are a lot of great things that you can do. One of them is the Acadiana Park Nature Station. So if you actually go all the way down Pinhook to Alexander Street, kind of towards the interstate, there's this huge, beautiful nature preserve. It's got beautiful boardwalks all the way through the woods. So if you're really interested in kind of hiking or birding, or just like being really out, really enveloped in this amazing bottomland hardwood forest, that is definitely a great place to go. The other places that we would recommend is kind of the Bayou Vermilion. So obviously we have this beautiful kind of bayou that runs through the middle of town called the Vermilion. It is actually named after the color. So it was never a clear river, so it's not any dirtier than it was, but it has a lot of programming that's hosted by the Bayou Vermilion, the Vermilionville and the Bayou Vermilion Association puts on boat parades every May, kind of obviously TBD for 2021, but they do a lot of kind of paddle trips. There's also organizations in town like Pack and Paddle that do paddle trips. Same thing for Lake Martin, which is a beautiful nature preserve, great for birders in the spring. That is just outside of town. So you probably will need a car to get there, but find a friend or go with an organized paddle trip through Pack and Paddle or another organization. And it's a really, really special place. Huge huge cypress trees and big old, big birds, big gators, everything you could imagine in the swamp. And then a little bit further is actually the Chapelay Basin. Huge basin that kind of used to be, or I guess would be, the, path of the Mississippi River at some point, but just great communities along the edge of it, lots of outdoors opportunities. So you can do canoeing and kayaking, fishing, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just a really beautiful swamp, again, kind of our traditional landscape down here. And then there's also lots of organizations that you can partner with if you're interested in just learning more about what we have here, or also just how you can get involved and some of the places that you can go. So Trees Acadiana does obviously a ton of tree planting. Scenic Lafayette is a lot around kind of litter pickup and kind of beautification efforts. Project Front Yard, Kate, why don't you take those last two?
Yeah, so EB and I are pretty active volunteers in our community, and so that volunteerism is really important to us. We hope it's important to you, and there are plenty of ways to get involved and take on some of those projects. So whether you're into public art and planting trees and doing cleanups, Project Front Yard and Recover Acadiana both tackle those things. So you can go to recoveracadiana.org, and if that's not a good fit for you, we can put you in touch with Project Front Yard too.
Absolutely. So Kate, why don't you keep going?
Yep. So for those of you who are looking for more of a cultural experience, could be dance classes or art walk, as we talked about, museums, improv classes. There are a lot of organizations and activities to do in Lafayette. So as we mentioned, Second Saturday Art Walk happens every month downtown. So if you just basically show up at Jefferson and Vermilion at the Acadiana Center for the Arts, you can, they'll help you sort of navigate Art Walk. But it's really all through downtown, up and down Jefferson and some of the side streets. Highly recommend that. CK des Arts also does live theater as well as classes, and they also do kids theater in the summertime. So when I was in college as a theater kid, I wanted to help out, and so in my college town, I actually volunteered with the local children's theater, and you can do that at CK. They have a really great summer program. The Acadiana Center for the Arts, as I mentioned, they have free visual arts galleries that are open to the public. Again, usually there are probably some extra measures taken during COVID, but they also are home to a lot of really great live music shows. They have about a 300-person theater. It's probably one of our nicest theaters in Lafayette. And you'll see a lot of big names, a lot of really fun shows coming through there. Not just music, but live theater. They do an opera live stream in there that you can access. They do kids shows. And you can just see a whole ton of things that go on at ACA. The Paul and Lulu Hilliard University Art Museum, you are a member of the art museum as a student and you get in for free. It's on campus. So go on your lunch break, go between classes. They have a lot of really great exhibits that alternate in there. So you can always discover something new at the Hilliard. The Southern Screen Film Festival is actually, it's a film festival as well as all kinds of workshops that will help you in a lot of creative fields. So whether you're into film, music, if you're into production or acting, depending on what you're into, you can not only learn but network at the film festival. So that happens in November. Again, TBD on what they're going to do this year, but our guess is that it's going to be virtual. And then this is a really great asset that Lafayette has, which is the Cajun Jam on Wednesdays at Blue Moon Saloon. Again, walking distance from campus. It's on Convent Street. And so you just bring an instrument and play. Anybody's invited, and it's a lot of fun. And you can also come just as a spectator and support them. There's also, by the way, if you're into like learning how to Cajun and Zydeco dance, there are a lot of people there that do that on Wednesdays as well. Basin Arts is also downtown on Clinton Street, and it offers classes every day of the week. Fitness classes, dance classes. So if you want to take a tap class or a ballet class at varying different levels, you can do that at Basin Arts. Silverbacks Improv does a ton of improv classes and master classes by bringing people in. So if you're into improv, I would highly suggest you get involved with Silverbacks. And then this is a fun thing to do, like if your family or friends come into town, but every Sunday at Vermilionville, usually again, pre-COVID, hopefully post-COVID, they'll be at Vermilionville, which is actually on the Vermilion. It's off of Pinhook, kind of across from the airport. So you can see that there every Sunday. It's a fun time to go and eat at Café de Mama and also go to the live music that happens every Sunday afternoon at the Balls de Mosh. Speaking of music, before I forget, I just want to mention that there are a ton of artists that are doing live streaming and offering things on their own band pages or personal pages on Facebook and Instagram. And so I'd highly recommend that you check out some of the bands that are featured on like Lafayette Travel or throughout different networks. And if you really want, I can also like personally make some recommendations to you. But I think like during this time, Lafayette's such a music town that it's important that we're supporting our local musicians, even when we can't gather to see them live. So one of the big gatherings that we have around music, as we talked about earlier, is Festival Acadiana Creole. It's actually the largest Cajun Zydeco music festival in the world, and it's free to attend. And typically it happens in your backyard on campus at Girard Park, but this year it's already going to be virtual. So check out their website for more details on how you can watch that. It'd also be a good idea to check out their roster as, you know, bands to look up on Spotify or like their Facebook pages to learn how to live stream them. Downtown Live, again, we talked about that. Those are the free concerts every Friday in the spring and fall. Those are TBD how they're going to do that, but they were virtual this spring. Black Pot Festival is a really great festival that happens in October. It's the culmination of Black Pot Camp, which is a music camp. So musicians from all over the world come here to train with other musicians, especially in the Creole and Cajun Zydeco genres. And then they have a big festival to celebrate and camp out all together. Again, TBD this year, but that generally is a lot of fun. Festival International going virtual this year, and probably we'll see what happens next year. But generally, there are a lot of live music at your doorstep downtown with Blue Moon Saloon, Artmosphere, The Hideaway on Lee, Feed and Feed, Warehouse 535, the Grouse Room that just moved from River Ranch into downtown. And Rock and Bowl is not only a music venue, but a restaurant and bowling. So anytime you want to come check that out, those are all within steps.
Well, so some of you also may be really interested in getting involved in kind of the sports and rec field. So we obviously wanted to make sure that you were aware that there's tons of programming that happens at the Parks and Recreation Department run by the city. So that's the website for their, you know, kind of all of their hub of information. And you can also see kind of where the parks are. Obviously, the park campus is very, very close to Girard Park, so that's going to be kind of your main stop, I'm sure, but there are also lots of other great parks around the community. And then also just great bike trails. So two that we've just kind of pointed out. One is the Mickey Shunick Loop, which is honoring a former UL student who was killed. And so they honored her with this beautiful loop that runs through all these different neighborhoods. And then also the Attakapaw Eshok Trail, which kind of honors some of our Native American history and connects several different kind of pieces of bike path and is only getting better as years go by. Another organization that is helping to not only kind of program sports events, but also trying to raise money to build parks and rec kind of infrastructure and biking infrastructure is called Trail. So Transportation and Recreation Alternatives in Louisiana. And you can go to latrail.org to learn more. I think some of their events obviously are going to be either, taken virtually or canceled, but on normal years, they have just tons of, at least once a month, there's something going on where it's either a cycling event, a running event. They're involved in kind of our marathon here in town. Which is called the Zydeco Marathon, actually. So anyway, you can visit some of these websites, but if you're interested, obviously reach out to us at the end and we'd be more than happy to connect you with more people. Finally, the other piece that is really fun is that she mentioned a lot of the different festivals that we have, but we've got even more that are just outside the borders. So again, it's one of those things where if you don't have a car, find a friend or, figure out a way to get out there. But we hope that this year, we'll be able to have the Career to Mardi Gras. It's the Country Mardi Gras, which is just this really fun thing. You may have heard about it, but just such a classic cultural piece of what we are here in Louisiana. And it's just a great celebration, lots of fun. Lots of them are really family friendly. Some are not so much, but always a really good time. And then beyond just the Career to Mardi Gras, all of the different things that you could possibly grow, eat, hunt, cook, doesn't really matter. We seem to have a festival around all of them. So in some vicinity of Lafayette, there is definitely a festival dedicated to almost everything. So you can see just a few that we pulled up here, but I think again, just stay on top of kind of seeing how these go virtual or whether or not they're kind of canceled or postponed till a future year. But there's just a ton of great things to do here, and there's never a dull moment being in Lafayette. So you can always go to LafayetteTravel.com, which is our Lafayette kind of travel and convention and visitors bureau, and that site is tons of great information of all sorts of things. And actually, Kate, I don't know if you want to say anything else about Lafayette Travel.
Yeah, they have a great calendar on there, and they're doing a really good job. They have a program called Eat Lafayette, where you can find listings on all restaurants in Lafayette and any specials that they're doing. So that's a really great hub for you to go in and look at where to eat, what to do, how to find live music. There's also a ton of blog posts and great photography and videos about the culture and what you can experience in Lafayette. So I highly recommend going on LafayetteTravel.com. Whether you're a local or new to Lafayette, it's a really great place to go and kind of do vacations or explore your own town. So couldn't recommend it more. And speaking of restaurants, this is not even a sliver of the whole of restaurants that you have at your disposal in Lafayette. These were just some of the ones that we picked because they were close by. And generally we see a lot of UL students there and younger people. I know we frequent these places a lot, but the Farmers and Artisans Market at the Horse Farm at Muncus Park that EB talked about, there's tons of really great food there, fresh and, vegan options, just a ton of good stuff there. French Press, #1 brunch spot to make your parents take you to if they ever come in on the weekend. Prepare for a wait, but it's going to be worth the wait. Central Pizza, great casual place. They have outside seating, great, delicious pizza, good ambiance, a lot of good, just everything on the menu is delicious. Tribe Collective, gluten-free, if you're looking for alternative food options, that's really the best place in town. Bread and Circus, again, this is Neapolitan pizza. It's like special pizza made by someone who is officially able to say he makes Neapolitan pizza. So I highly recommend you check that out. Again, Rock and Bowl has a restaurant in addition to the bowling alley. So you can also get fun, just chicken tenders and snacks at the bowling alley, but they have also a nice restaurant there too. Social Southern Table and Bar is another really great spot, sort of in the middle of town. And it has local Southern fare, kind of a nicer restaurant if you want to go out and have a good time with some friends or family. Spoonbill Watering Hole is really that. There are a lot of people that go there for drinks after work, hanging out on weekends. They have a great brunch. So if you're looking for just kind of a regular watering hole for you and your friends to hang out, Spoonbill is so centrally located, so hip, so cool, and really the food and drinks are delicious. Rusted Rooster is a fantastic breakfast and lunch spot. It's kind of like, picture like a really great like lunch counter deli, plus like amazing biscuits and fried chicken biscuits. So if you're looking for a really good breakfast or a nice lunch sandwich, you can head over to Rusted Rooster, and it's really close to campus on St. Landry. But again, full list at LafayetteTravel.com, and especially important right now because they have been doing a phenomenal job of keeping up with closures and when and where people are open and what they're doing to try to encourage people to eat out, even though we're pretty quarantined. So check out LafayetteTravel.com.
Well, that is it. But we really welcome any of the comments or questions that you may have. We know that this coming year is going to be such an interesting and challenging time for all of us, but we still encourage you guys to get engaged in Lafayette. There's so much to do. There's so much to learn. There's so much to get involved in. And we have met some of our best friends by being super active in our community and just couldn't love anything more than our people and our culture here. So Kate, I don't know if you have any closing words.
Well, just I want to plug that a fun thing to do is to celebrate your arrival in Lafayette, or maybe to mark your first year, is to head out to the Lafayette sign at Parc Sans Souci. It's right downtown. It's 7-foot concrete letters that spell Lafayette, and you get to be in the middle with your arms up as the Y that Lafayette is such a great place to be. So it's painted about every 6 weeks. So the designs keep alternating. So you'll typically probably find a new design every time you go. So I just want to check that out. It's actually pictured on the first slide if you're watching this recorded and you want to go check it out.
You are the why. We are the why.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. And again, there are emails, planner.eb@gmail.com, and then katiedurio@gmail.com. Reach out to either one of us or both of us, and we'd be happy to connect you with any of these organizations, give you updates on any kind of websites that we know of that have better information if you're looking for it. And we just hope you enjoy your first year.
Yeah, have a great year, y'all.
Bye, guys.